Hello and welcome to Qsports. I'm Umudu Gajaga and thank you very much for joining us this morning. Exclusively on this show, we're going to talk about African Schools Football Championship, which was held in the Gambia over a 2-day period, but with intense roster. So many matches has to fit in the competition. And thank God, the final was played yesterday, Friday, the 28th of November, at the Gambino Stars Africa Football Park in Mandinaring, Lamen. And in that competition, the Gambia, of course, the host, took part in both the men's category and the women's category, or if you like, the boys category and the girls category, because they are under 15. So they are not yet men or women. They are girls and boys. And in that competition again, it's Senegal's dominance over the Gambia, which continues unabated. Senegal, now it appears, even a friendly match is organized between the Gambia and Senegal, and it's played in mass. Senegal is likely going to beat the Gambia. And that's exactly what happened. In both the women's, or the girls and the boys category, they triumph, and eventually winning the boys competition. And the other competition, joining me in the studio is journalist Fode Mane. He's been monitoring, he was there, he watched everything that unfolded, and we'll introduce him into the show. Welcome, Fode.
Thank you so much, Gajaga. It's a pleasure to be here again on this platform.
Fantastic. Schools football competition, your coverage. Is this your first time? Youngsters as young as 15?
Yeah, this is my first time covering school football championship. Of this magnitude. Of course, I've been following school football at local level and all that, but like where countries meet, compete, and also learn, of course, this is the first time. And I really much enjoy it, looking at the talents that you see, like under 15, both boys and girls. It's interesting.
Were they allowed to play free-flowing football, what they know, or were there some tactical issues where the coaches would yell at them that you need to do this? Because at this age, most of the time, we're told, okay, you allow them to enjoy the game.
Yeah, for some countries or some of the participating nations, you could see that, the coaches have really much, put a lot of pressure on the kids, much more on the side of the Guinean girls. You look at it, it's not even boys, but girls, their coach is always under pressure. At some point even she substituted a player who had a chance to score because their last game was somehow very interesting. That's why in my post I mentioned that they wisely won the league because they had to score more goals to be ahead of Senegal. So he or she wanted her team to score like up to 7 to 8 goals. So they were already leading 5-0. And then this player had a chance to score and then missed the chance. She was angry, yelling on the third line, calling on her, in the Susu language, shouting and everywhere. All of a sudden we saw, she has to demand for substitution and removed her. So that tells you, it's not just like, they are kids that they just have to be allowed to play anyhow, but they also teaching them, that you need to do this. And this is the demand of the coach. You have to make sure that you meet it. If you cannot meet that, then I have to take you out and bring somebody who can bring me my need. But yeah, so it was all like that, but not for all of them. For some you see, okay, they are allowed to play, just like kids to enjoy and all that. But, for some countries, it was different.
How would you rate the hosting of the Gambia, the competition at the Gambino Stars Africa Football Park, which is in Mandinaring?
Yeah, I think, that park is the only park that can really much host such an event for us in the Gambia right now, with all due respect to other, facilities we have. But then again, that is the reality. It was good, looking at the environment, looking at the structure, the standard, everything. I think, yeah, it is the only park that can give us that. But again, for me, I think the Gambia is having the potential to host more of these, events, not only stopping at the school championship, but also the under 17, the under 20 WAFU, all of these things we can host, provided that we really much work on our infrastructure. We try to standardize it, not just to put the pitch there. The pitch is one thing, but looking at other facilities that are also needed around another thing. And if you look around, Gambinos has all of those things. They have standard dressing rooms, standard pavilions where people can sit, and even if it is sunny as what, you can always be there, enjoy the games. And I think everybody was enjoying it, not visitors, not fans, not spectators, and not even, the guests that they have invited. Everybody was comfortable, enjoying the game. So, but, other facilities also can have this. And when they do, we will be able to, host such games. But as of now, I think it's only Gambinos that has that credibility to host such events. And yeah, it was interesting. We love it there. The environment was nice. Only one thing, maybe the accessibility to the space.
It's difficult. The access roads
it's very, very difficult.
The facility.
Yeah, and that is one of the standard that is always count in, either by CAF or FIFA. When it comes to such venues, you always have to have that comfortable access to get to the space. So if not that, I think, yeah, Gambinos, even if they want to do it again next year, they can still do it at that complex. But it still be a profit for them. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Does this put our reputation as a country into somehow asking questions concerning sports infrastructure? In other countries, this would be maybe played somewhere in the middle of the city. Well, of course, with all due respect to Gambinos, they deserve to host it, and commendations to them for having such a good facility. But one would say such a facility would have been in the heart of the city or somewhere, but not, let's say, at the last end of a village, very close to the sea, that level.
Yeah, let's say some of these kids that are coming to the Gambia for the first time, like, okay, from Guinea, maybe for Senegal, many of them might already been here before, but okay, for Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania, some of them coming here for the first time and, being told that you're going to the Gambia to play this championship and you're going to Banjul, as on the branding it is only mentioned Banjul. And we all know Banjul is the capital of the Gambia. And you come to the Gambia, you are far, far away from Banjul. You are not playing in the capital city, and you are told that, okay, it's because there is not that facility that can accommodate such games in Banjul. It's disappointing, and I think it is not really much telling well about what we have here. So Banjul should be having at least 3 to 4 of those standard facilities where games can be hosted within the city. You go to around Serekunda, which is another epicenter of football.
Because sometimes there is a requirement where these teams needs to be very close to the stadium.
Exactly.
The access point you were talking about earlier.
So you go to other standard, competitions, they will not even allow it to be played in Gambinos, at Gambinos, you go there, these 2 days, you realize there were a lot of, GTSE buses parked, because they always have to be there, whenever they are done, they have to transport these players back to the city again, maybe to the hotels that they are staying in. So, but, that is not how we wanted it to be. Like you said, with all due respect to Gambinos, and all that, they have the facility. But we want, when such events are happening in the Gambia, they are hosted within the city. That even those coming can also have the first view of what Gambia can offer in terms of beauty, in terms of everything that is in this country. But now some of them are having only one route to come to the venue, and after that, either use the same route to go to the airport and leave, or they go through Bara and go back to their countries, So, there's not much that we have, offered in terms of this. All what we have done is to just get the players from, from their hotels to the game center, play, and then they are done, they go back to the hotel. When they are going back, they go to the airport, or they travel through land again and go back to their countries. But if you go to other countries, whenever they're hosting such events, whenever you are out, even if you are going to the market just to go and get your groceries, you see the beauty, you see, how, they even build on their sport infrastructure. You get inspired. You'll be like, okay, this is what we want also to get in our country. But not aside from the sports infrastructure, but looking at other things, we still do not show anything to these people coming to the Gambia. And one of these events is to also sell your country's image to others, So, but Yeah, I think we need to do much better in terms of infrastructure. We have distance within the center. Then whenever we have such events, people will come down, to the center in the city or around Serekunda, even Brikama. These are the main areas that we know in the Gambia, and that they can also have first-hand information about what Gambia can offer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you look at the competition itself in terms of competitiveness, we've seen high-scoring games. Let's say, for instance, Senegal's boys team destroyed Liberia's boys team by 7 goals to 0. We've seen a Gambia boys team. Is it against one of the teams again? I think Liberia again.
Yeah.
5-0
Yeah.
scoreline. Mauritania
Yeah.
5-0, and also other scorelines as well. So in terms of competitiveness, how competitive was it?
Yeah, I think you can see it was very competitive, much more the Mauritanian team. I like them for one thing, their boys are very young. You could see Gambia beat them in the first game 5-0. But the second game, they played against the Gambia in the third place. And then the game ended 0-0. Then they had to go on penalties, and the Gambia won on penalties. So you see how things changes, quickly. After beating them 5-0, you come to the third place where it is needed the most to at least finish as, the bronze medalist. You have to go up to, penalty kicks. So it was competitive, and I see, some of the teams really much building on this to create a pathway for their players moving from the under 15 to the under 17, and the same pathway you'll be seeing these players moving to get to the under 20, eventually even making it to the senior national teams. Like in the Senegalese case, I was very, very, amused to know that the under 17 technical team are the same people handling this under 15, because they have to get used to these players. They have to inculcate the tactics that they want these players to get used to. And they have to teach them what they should expect even if they graduate from the under 15 to the under 17. And it should be, of course, it should be the same people.
Transition.
Yeah, so that is very important in terms of transition. And you see they have to build that competitiveness in them. They have to put that in their head. That is the reason why, for me, I think Senegal is always beating the Gambia, because the mentality, not because they have the talent more than us. You look at the game that they're beating the Gambia in the semi-final, the Gambia played more of the ball. They were attacking the other. But you look at how the Senegalese team, how disciplined they were in terms of tactics, you will know that, yes, they've been taught about something, and they know how to compete, So that mentality differs, and that is why they're always beating us. So it has been very much competitive, and the both boys and girls, each of these nations, or these 6 nations, always want to win. And when they lose, much more when they are expecting to be in the final and they lose, you see them crying. They want to be in the final, they want to win the money, they want to lift the trophy. So but when they miss, they start crying, and that tells you, there's competition, and of course it was competitive. But again, it's about how you build the mindset of these kids, towards where they're heading to. Because all of these kids don't only want to stop at school football, they want to make it to the under 17, to graduate, even make it to professional level, eventually playing for the national team.
Huge missed opportunity for the Gambia as host nation, because it's the top 2 teams in each category who will represent Africa at the Africa Schools Football Championship. The bigger one, because this one is a regional competition where it seems like a qualifiers, and the top 2 would eventually, that's going to be now Senegal and Guinea in the boys and the girls category. Gambia finished as bronze medalist in both the boys and girls category. Huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, it would have been very good for the Gambia as the host country, to make it to the finals at the CAF level. Of course, this is the WAFU level, regional level, or we can call it the zonal level. Now we have Senegal going again, and with Guinea in the girls category. We've been there before. I think this time we should have been there again. Provided that we are the host nation, we should have been the winners. But where Senegal is involved, always we are always beaten, and that's the reality. But again, you see these boys, like I said, would have loved to be at the finals, where they play against other countries from other zones. Maybe WAFU B, the Central African clubs and all those things. They would want to play against them, and it would have been also a platform for them to even expose themselves more again to other environments and other opportunities as well. So, but all those things now we'll be thinking about when next are we going to play the WAFU again to be able to reach at that level. And I'm not sure it's going to be us again hosting it. Hopefully another country will be hosting it. And when you are not hosting it, it's always, if the percentage should be given, you are always at 50 to 40. But when you are hosting it, you always give in around 60 to 70% because it is at your home and you will have people coming to support you. Like just yesterday, when the Gambia, we were playing against Senegal, you could see all the pavilions were filled up. I don't know whether they are from Mandinari or where, but then again, they are very aggressive, Even, I was somehow saying, okay, you people seeing these referees, they are very young referees, but you still insulting them, and all that. But I see that is football's passion, and when you back in your country, for that matter, not only a club, you always want to see them winning. And yeah, that opportunity was already there, and now it was not taken. So next time they're going, they may not have that, and it will be very difficult for them to get to the finals. But hopefully they will get to the finals at the CAF level, and then there will be bigger opportunities for them in terms of getting scouted even by, agents or clubs, because some clubs start now paying attention to this under 15, 16 and 17-year-old players. So if you are playing at that level, always expect that somebody is watching me, and they can always tap on me and say, hey, this is a talent that we want to grab and take to our club. And who knows, maybe before you turn 16, 17, they start already working on you, and you can be there. So it's a platform for kids to also show themselves, not just school football, but to also show themselves at the highest level. But now we missed that opportunity for this time, but hopefully, when we go out next time, we will be able to get there. But this was the biggest opportunity as far as we are playing at home.
One thing I like about the competition is in terms of age, they don't joke with it. You have to be in school. And once you are registered in a portal in the system, your age, your details and everything, you can't change it. So it is going to a level where any of these players in future, whether you have a professional contract or maybe you are going on trials and there is something that has to do with your age, you can't change it ever again.
Exactly.
Yeah, because your details are already in the system.
Yeah.
Unless if you go to do the dubious thing of even changing your name, maybe, or changing your nationality or something like that. But I don't think anyone would go up to that level. So that aspect of it, I think, is going to really fight or clamp down on age cheating that we have witnessed in African football for the longest of time.
Exactly. It is very, very well regulated in terms of that. I could even remember one of the previous under-17 players once played at this level, understand, and he played again in the under-17. So when this new under-17 came, the one that recently played in Mali,
Yes.
so his fans, I can say, or friends or colleagues even asking why is he not included in the squad. But if you do background check, you will know that yes, he was before the under-17. He was part of the school football team, and like you said, the age was all recorded accurately, and you cannot change anything. Understand? So he transited from the school football to the under-17, played in the under-17, and now this one also came because he's one of the outstanding players. People started asking why is he not involved, but not knowing is because of already on his previous passport and all the details taken, his age remains the same, so it cannot be changed. And he has already, passed the under-17, age, so he cannot longer play for the under-17. You see, so such will always, help in terms of even creating opportunity for others. Imagine if he was, still forced to be part of that under-17, somebody's opportunity might be taken away. But now he is not there. Someone is giving an opportunity, and that person now is also, showing up what he can do. So that is it. Of course, the platform also is not just about that, but it is also teaching these kids again. It comes with education, capacity building, not only for the footballers, but even their teachers. They train them on coaching, of these kids. How do you coach the talents at this level? It also has a category where they also train young reporters, like those that are interested also becoming journalists to follow such events, to cover them, report on them. So it also has that component as well as safeguarding, because we all know this has to be with, do with minors. They are very, very young, not up to 18, and they have to be safeguarded. They have to be protected, and it's good that FIFA now brought the safeguarding officers. All the member associations like the GFF, they are all having safeguarding officers. As we know, our under 17 as well is having a safeguarding officer. So these are key individuals that also help in the development of these kids. So just recently we've seen some stories about an under 17 player, and it was very, very disturbing. But you can see where now these safeguarding officers can come in. They try to, provide counseling to them, psychological support and all those things to make sure they are stable, they focus on what is ahead of them. So all these things are part of this program, these past 2 days that they have been doing. So it's a very interesting program, but like you said, it's very, very regulated in terms of age.
I was also impressed with the coverage it has gathered in media, whether it is in the Gambia or the outside world. Let's say in Africa, per se, the matches were streamed live on YouTube, and we've seen the picture quality. Some of you also who were using social media, especially Facebook, to post pictures about the competition, high quality pictures, and also reporting real-time updates of the game, the scores, some of the outstanding players. And let's say overall in the boys category, Senegalese became the player of the tournament. In fact, I think in one of his interviews, he talked about it's not going to be long before people start watching him on TV as a professional footballer. He's so confident.
Very confident. I spoke to him briefly, Baragay, he's a very free guy, very, very free. And you can see one thing I like about him, he already made friends with all the other countries, Could see even at the coronation when they were going, giving the guard of honor, he was really much joking with the Gambian players, the Guinean players, the other nations and all of those things. So he's a very, very open guy, and that also gives you the stable mind to play the best of your football, when you're very calm, open and composed, So he won the top scorer award. We just, after receiving that award, we just heard from the mic again, the same person is going back to receive the player of the tournament award. I said, wow, he deserves it, huh? And yeah, he's a talent. And like I said, the way Senegal already put up their pathway for these talents, I'm sure we will soon see him even play in the under 17 before we realize he's at the professional level. And just as he said, soon we will see him playing at that level, and we'll see him on TV because he is the talent. He's an absolute talent. You watch him, you like him. He deserves it. You cannot even say not because he's a Senegalese. No, he is a talent. And even winning the top scorer award and also the player of the tournament added more onto that. So for me, I think they have the right pathway, because having the same technical team as the under 17, managing this under 15, it's obvious that players like him will be transit from the under 15 to the under 17. Before you realize, you could even play under 20 and then reach the professional level. And what he said, then we will all realize that is, we will be sitting watching him on TV.
Quite very confident. We'll take a short commercial break, and when we return, we will continue the discussion, but more focus is going to be on Senegal's dominance over the Gambia. We're not trying to compare the two, but of course, the Gambia also needs to play for pride whenever they're playing against Senegal, because we are rivals in football when it comes to who has the upper hand, who wants to achieve more.
Q Money is changing the game with mobile money payment. Now, you can pay your QCell mobile broadband plan faster, easier, and way more convenient with your Q Money wallet. Just open the Q Money app or dial *323#. Select option 4 to buy or pay your broadband plan in seconds. No stress, no lines, no last-minute panic. Whether you're streaming your favorite shows, browsing the web, or working from home, stay connected without missing a beat. Stay connected the easy way with QMoney's QCell mobile broadband payments anytime, anywhere. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney. Senior Carpet. Terms and conditions.
Gambia, are you ready for something big?
From your trusted GSM operator, QCell, your favorite app just got a major upgrade.
From your phone to the world, buy credit, buy Sunu bundle packages, loan credit with eFankanta, and buy Q Power all in one place.
And here's the real upgrade. Q Money is now fully integrated in the app. Send money, pay bills, save money so faster and easier than ever.
And for our entertainment lovers, stream QTV, Q Radio Live anytime, anywhere.
But that's not all. This upgrade also brings enhanced security features, smoother performance, and a brand new interface designed to save your time.
This is more than an app.
This is freedom at your fingertips.
Download the new QCell app today and unlock your digital life.
For more information, call our customer care on 111.
QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Biggest network with the cheapest tariff in the Gambia, and enjoy crystal clear calls and super fast internet at the cheapest tariff only with QCell. Rush now and grab your free QCell SIM card today from any of our care centers near you. QCell, the biggest network with the cheapest tariff. QCell Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow.
Browse with us. QCell brings you a promo like never before. Get unlimited internet for just $25 Cs. Yes! Recharge $25 Cs and enjoy the convenience of free internet from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. every day with our Browse with Us promo. With this amazing offer, you can browse, stream, and download all your favorite movies for free. So why wait? Recharge $25 Cs.
Back and thank you very much for joining us. This is Qsports and I'm Umutu Kajaga. Joining me in the studio is journalist Fode Mane. We're discussing the African Schools Football Championship, which was hosted in the Gambia over the last 2 days, and the final was played yesterday at the Gambino Stars Africa Football Park in Mandinering. And it was highly competitive, like Fode said earlier, but we want to focus now. Fode touched on it a little bit, the dominance of Senegal over the Gambia. They've beaten us in the under-20. There was at some point, they beat us in the semi-finals. They went on to the finals, won the competition. In the zone category, they've beaten us almost every time. And on the 17 level, is either they knock us out in the semi-finals, or if we play against them in the finals where there is a trophy, they will still win. This is a country, the Gambia, around 2005, when we won the African Under-17 Championship, hosted it and also won it. At that time, Senegal's youth football, they were better than us in senior football, but their youth football hasn't get up to a certain level in terms of competitive level in Africa. But that has suddenly changed. The last few years, they've won U17, they've won U20, they've won this time the school level, at least at the zone level. What are they doing right?
Kajaga, there is no rocket science, honestly, in football development. We are all following Senegal closely. We have seen what they've been doing, just recently. They have renovated all their biggest, stadiums, from the Stade La Door in Chess and, the Leopold Stadium, the new stadium that they have built in Jamniado, all these stadiums, all these facilities, they are league. Just look at it, and look at the growing number of top academies in Senegal. You have them, having partnership with clubs in Europe, much more these French clubs. You have Olympique Lyon all the way in France, having a partnership with a club or an academy in Senegal, So they're really much prepared for this since, like you're talking about 2005, because they know.
That's 20 years ago.
Yeah, they know to build on the youth football, these things needs to be there. Academies needs to be empowered. School football needs to be empowered. The infrastructure needs to be there. And they have all these things now. They have academies that are really much competing even internationally. Understand? So, but counting the Gambia, which academy is going out here to play, international football.
Football, apart from Gambinos on their training camps.
Apart from Gambinos. But even Gambinos, are they not international?
Yes. Yeah, they are, of course, international. Their partnership, the way they operate and everything. Of course, they're international.
Exactly. They have
say they're based in Gambia, but the way they operate.
Exactly. They have even players from Senegal. Yes. They have players from Cameroon. They have players from Cote d'Ivoire, and they're just based in the Gambia, but they're international already. So, but Senegal, you see an academy only with Senegalese players, only Senegalese born, and they are really thriving. They're having partnership with European clubs. They transiting their players, like in the case of FC Metz, a lot of these players pass through FC Metz, So, but why are we not getting it? And all these things started just after 2005 to now, understand? But we have been doing it since, and we cannot still be there, understand? So there's no rocket science. We just have to make sure that the basic is provided, the grassroots is supported, understand? And grassroots starts with academies and school football. We need to empower that. From there, we need to make sure that the infrastructure is available. Understand? We make sure the facilities are across the country. Understand? Not only just, we have it in Banjul, we have it in Serekunda, we just have to renovate them and all that. But let's talk about North Bank region. It's now that North Bank started having, some standard facilities like the North Star Football Academy, space. In LRR, it's now that we have started seeing a mini stadium, and that is even not owned by even an academy. It's regional owned. But you go to my area, we don't even have one.
We still call it Basse Mini Stadium.
Basse Mini Stadium, but if you go there, you are very, very disappointed to see where these boys are playing on. And these are the boys that we want them to, leave from Basse to make it to the professional level. At the end of the day, we start taking pride that we have players from all the way in Basse to professional level. When Senegal are having players playing in the top 5 leagues, abundance of them, and even tomorrow they're thinking about selling 3 to 5 players to the Premier League, so it is not rocket science, we just have to make sure that the right things are done. We need to put up a proper blueprint that this is how we want our football to be developed. We cannot just be here talking about, okay, we have done this, when we cannot even see them, so it needs to be seen and it needs to be felt. That's how we can know that, okay, we really might go in. But if not that, like I told you earlier, we will continue seeing the Senegalese teams dominating us at the Euro level. The mentality is not the same. Just for example that I was talking about, having their technical team as the under-17, taking care of the under-15, is different from ours. And when I asked, I was told that, okay, they said it's a school football, so it needs to be managed or coached by, teachers. Understand? So, but we still expect that, okay, these are the same players that we want them to transit from, under 15 to under 17. Then that is not going to happen. Because throughout yesterday, I did not see even one of the under 17 coaches at that venue. Even to say, okay, we came to watch to see whether we will be able to see a talent that can graduate from that under 15 to the under 17 next year. Because we all know now, under 17 is every year. Yeah. Understand? You play WAFU. From WAFU, you play AFCON. From AFCON, you play the World Cup. Understand? You look at other countries right now, Senegal, the team that played in the recent WAFU is different from the team that, went for the World Cup. Understand? Because already there's a team that qualified for the World Cup. So that team is put aside. They have to go back again, build a new team to go and compete at the WAFU. Understand? Because in the space, the WAFU played in October, and then November, this thing the World Cup comes in. So you see how serious they are. But us, we cannot even build one proper team. So that is the problem, and we need to start following those steps. We need to start supporting grassroots football. Academies need to be empowered, supported. Let build their capacity, and all those things. Let them understand school football needs to graduate from let's just organize school football among schools across the country. But how do we help them? Like this school championship, when school football is happening, we play, and then from there, teams or these players graduate and represent the nation at the under 15 level. Under 15 level. Yeah. And the same, 17, the same team again can transition from the under 15 to the under 17. Imagine you have even 5 players that we are used to each other in the under 15 and move together to the under 17. How would those 5 players build on the under 17? It would be a crazy game of football that you can play against them. Absolutely. So, but that's not the case here. These players that we saw yesterday, maybe next year we will not see even any of them in the under 17. So, and we want to be at that level as they
that
are.
level.
And yesterday, Senegal, this number 10 that I'm talking about, Baragay, the best player, obviously next year, I will tell you this for free. You will see him in under 17. And even the goalkeeper, he was very outstanding. You know, their goalkeeper, tall, lanky, and, you know, he has the body size. He's just like a table couture, you know, type that can fill the goal post for you. And I'm sure next year you will also see him too in the under 17 of the Senegalese team.
They have a proper plan.
They have a
transition system where you graduate from this level to a higher level.
So that is it. You know, we need to do the same thing. You know, if you want to, but it all needs to start from the grassroots. We need to start building. How do we, you know, climb from bottom to top?
How about technicians, building the technical capacity of our coaches, those who run the game in terms of assigning the players their various roles on the pitch, tactically, and all of those things. Is that an area also that we need to improve in?
Very well, very well. You know, you could be surprised, you know, that it's just recently we've also seen that, okay, under 17 coach even has securities, CAF Lansing, you know, but it's good that CAF is now bringing these requirements, you know, because if you want to coach at this level, you need to have these credentials to be able to understand. And when you don't have them, forget it. And now that will force the federations, the coaches, to push for them, to go and get them. And when you go there, you will obviously get the knowledge. You will know how to handle these kids. You will know how to train them. You know, they have to understand the basics. But sometimes you go even tactically, you will know that, okay, not the players, they don't have the problem, but even the coaches.
The coach is limited in terms of tactics.
In terms of tactics. And you will see it, you will know. If you really much used to football, you will know. And it will really much, that is even more stressing than even, you know, footballers playing and play bad. Because somebody needs to be there to tell them that this is how you should do it. And if that person cannot do that, obviously the boys will just go and play the way they want it, or the way for them they understand
their game.
That's how they're going to play it. So it is very, very key, very important for coaches to also have that capacity. You know, but I'm liking it now. It must have to be a requirement, even for you to stand on that line. You know, if you don't get it, you are not going to be there. Somebody else will be there for you, understand? And then you will be like, no, you don't even, and then you will not even get the credit.
I hosted so many grassroots coaches in the studio. They've talked about, they said in the Gambia, the way people prepare players, some of the academies that we have, we said we're developing grassroots football, but there are a lot of missteps. One of the missteps they said, it is to get these players trained, you know, in such a way at that young level, when they are under 9, when they are under 11, when they are under 15, they need to learn the basics of the game. Yes, at under 9, let them kick the ball, let them run around, let them, you don't even need to do lots of corrections. But when they get to the, let's say, under 12, under 13, under 15 level, you start teaching them some of the basics of the game, where they need to position themselves, how to control the ball, how to pass, how to do transitions and things like that. So their tactical awareness level starts developing from that end, and then they move on. By the time they get to 17, they begin to understand the game much, much, much better. They reach 18, they are almost like mentality of a professional. The way they behave, the way they handle themselves, conduct themselves, and their understanding of the game. But they said some of these things are missteps because the people who should teach them this don't have the basic knowledge of it at under 17 level, or let's say at the academies level. So the issue of technical capacity that you're talking about is hugely important.
Yeah, this is why I said the grassroots needs to be empowered. How can those coaches get that capacity if they are not trained? The coaches need to be trained. The trainers need to be trained, of course, you know. It's part of the work plan that we need to build. The FA, the ministry, all of them needs to come together and make sure that, okay, grassroots football is empowered. And how should it be empowered? It's that way. Let's have a component where academic coaches will be trained about how they should help those kids to understand the basic, like they're saying. It's very important. Kids at that level needs to really much understand the basic. Like from, 9 to 12 to 15, you need to really much understand how to kick the ball, how to pass, how to position yourself, all those things. But the one that is training you, if he does not have that, how would you get it? You will not get it. So that is where now our work started. We should make sure that grassroots start from there. We have this frequent training of those coaches, telling them this is how you need to prepare these kids. If they go back, obviously they will do the same. Understand? But now we have, coaches, like you go to my area, we just go and pick anybody and just bring and tell we have an academy. You are the coach of this academy.
And the coaches usually are the ones who support Barcelona,
exactly,
support Man
Man United.
And then they go to the video club, what they watch, they want to
bring that for the kids.
For the kids.
You understand? So this is what is happening.
It doesn't work that way.
And that should not be the case.
Yeah.
We should be the one to come down and say, okay, who are the well-structured academies here? Who are the registered academies? Let's bring them on board. Let's say maybe we put up a plan every 3 months, we will be having training for these academies. Understand? We can come, we don't need to pay them. They just need to come, sit and understand how they should train these kids. They go back, implement the same thing. If that happens, don't you think that, we will be able to build on those things? We will be able to. But that is not happening. You go to many of these academies, they go and pick any person that they think he is the most, smart-minded person in terms of football, give in the team and say, we just want to win this trophy.
The trophy, yes.
That's all.
Just deal with them.
Yeah, so that's the thing we have been seeing here. But it needs to start from there, the grassroots level. And that's why we said we need empowerment at that level. Okay, this CAF football is designed by CAF. It's not by us. But what are they doing when it comes to the qualifiers that just took place here 2 days ago? They brought coaches from the school level. And one of the components is to train them. And what are they training them? How to train those players. That's what they are training them. But again, after this, when are we going to see it again? Next year? Or when it is happening again in Senegal or Guinea, we also send at least 2-3 people to go? That should not be the thing. It should be here, our own. Understand?
Continuous assessment.
Exactly. We should be the one to be having it all the time. Every 3 months or every 6 months, we have coaches across the regions to be trained on these things. But we cannot be just saying, okay, it should be like this, when they don't know how to do it. And you know how it should be done, you are not doing it that way.
And if you still talk about having that level of tactical awareness and increased capacity in coaches, to use Senegal for example, again, the assistant coaches in France, some of them are coaches in fact in top divisions or in the French, at least second division, teams around Europe. Some of them are at very, very senior levels in coaching. In Africa, their former coach, Aliou Cissé, was doing very well with the Libya national team, even though he didn't qualify, but had some very, very good results with the Libya team. And they are in African football also at club level. Some clubs, top clubs, are being coached by Senegalese. We would want to get to that level as well, but you cannot do that without capacity.
Absolutely. The Senegalese technical team, always, even when you see them, the way they approach the boys, the way they speak to the boys, even when they are walking, you will see and you will know that yes, this person is a tactical-minded person. Yeah. Understand? But that is different here. Like I was saying yesterday, I was amazed when I saw this technical team, how they handle the boys, they address them, the way they even speak. If one stands and speak to the boys, you will understand that yeah, he is trying to send a message. But it's different from us. You cannot just go and get a teacher because he's a school football. You bring him on the bench and say it's school football, it should be teachers.
Yeah, because the person is a physical education teacher.
Exactly.
That's completely different from coaching.
That's completely different from coaching. What can that person translate to that player in terms of football? It should be a coxswain to you. Understand? But that's not the case. And those people, when you see them, how they even speak to the players, how they try to translate message to them, you will know that yes, these people understand this game. And because they are building their capacity, and just like you said, they are also responsible for the academies. These academies we're talking about in Senegal, the ones signing partnership with French clubs, and they also have those exchange programs where they even take their coaches to these top European clubs, and they spend at least 2-3 months there, learning, coming back, implementing what they have learned. Do we have that here? We don't. And until we start getting those things, it will be difficult to compete against countries like Senegal. There we are ahead.
We've centered the discussion mainly on the Gambia's performance in this schools football competition, the competitiveness, the infrastructure aspect of it, how the Gambia missed out on the proper CAF level to feature in that competition in terms of school football. But again, the other countries, the Guinea-Bissaus, the Mauritanians and Liberia, who didn't do well in the competition, what do you think is some of their problems? Because I'm sure when it comes to talent, they have talent. Is it because these countries have always worked better than them? They are far ahead of them. In the case of Guinea-Bissau and Mauritania, of course, they've qualified at the senior level for the AFCON, I think twice or three times. But you know, if you look at them also at junior level, they are not doing well.
For Mauritania, I think I like their model because I suspect they're doing something very, very interesting. Because if you look at their boys, they are very, very young, understand? And you realize also what we have recently seen in Mauritania in terms of football development is way different from us here. We have seen them building infrastructure now. We've seen them even moving towards professionalizing their league. And we've seen how they try to support grassroots football. So having those kids, they're very, very young. I can say Mauritania and Liberia, they have the youngest team in this tournament. And having those type of players play, obviously you're trying to build them. Understand? You're not interested in winning. It's a matter of them coming, compete, and see what other countries has. Understand? Like playing against Senegal, imagine Mauritania playing against Senegal. It's telling them something because Senegal is way ahead of them. Playing against the Gambia as well. Like I said, the earlier game, Gambia beat them 5. But when they came the second game, you could see some difference, even the way they approach the game, the way they try to keep the Gambian. They
must have learned something in the previous game. They must have
learned, obviously. The way they try to keep the Gambian team. You know how they were playing? They are playing to frustrate them. Because they know the Gambia needs the third place. And they could also get the third place if they go on to penalty kicks. In the game, the Gambia could beat them. Because Gambia has the upper hand, you know, in terms of the physicality and everything. The Gambia is ahead. So, but when they came into the game, they try to be disciplined tactically. They're trying to frustrate the Gambian team, waste time, you know, they are doing simulations and all those things. And, you know, at the end, the Gambian team were very, very frustrated because they could not score, and then they took them to penalties. So when they went to penalties, now it's gamble. They could win, and when they won, they are going to take the third place. Understand? So that tells you they are learning something. The first game, you beaten by these people 5. The second game, you are able to now know how to approach them. And you did that, you are able to contain them in the regulation time. You go with them to penalties, they won you. So that is something that I like about the Mauritania. I'm sure with such, obviously they are even building on, you know, moving these players from this level to another level. I'm sure they also have the same thing as Senegal is having. For Liberia, you know, I may not be right, but I think, you know, they also have more to do like the Gambia, you know, in terms of developing grassroots football infrastructure. If not, they'll always come to compete and they will not be able to make it to that level because we have not been seeing them winning at the youth level, not even the under 20. Mostly they are not even competing, you know, you don't even hear them. So I think they also need to do more in terms of youth football. Guinea-Bissau, the same thing, but we have seen difference in the under 17 tournament, you know, and right now I think they are coming up. With the under 15, hopefully, they're also trying to build. But they're under 17, well before they traveled to the tournament in Mali, they were already in Portugal. They went to Portugal and played a friendly tournament against some academies there. And they did well, you know. Immediately from that tournament, they traveled to Mali and they played in the WAFU under 17 qualifiers. They beat the Gambia and they went up to the final or the semi-final, I think. Yeah, they played the semi-final. And they lost. So, but that tells you that they're also trying to be very, very open-minded now in terms of youth football. Imagine sending an entire team to Europe to go and prepare ahead for WAFU, and then come to WAFU, you know, compete and, you know, beat the likes of the Gambia who were beating you before, and now you are going up to the semi-final. Let's say if they do that again next year again, where would you see them? Hopefully they'll be in the final, win the final, or even finish second. They make it to the AFCON. And if they're at the AFCON, they fight again, they can be at the World Cup. And you can have a lot of these players move to Portugal because for them it's always Portugal. Yeah. So that is the great thing that we have seen with Guinea-Bissau. And I'm sure with this team also they build on them to get to the under 17, and the same thing they will be seeing at the under 17 level.
Well, for the As journalists, we're always inquisitive as to how events unfolded. For Guinea-Bissau, when they were coming to Gambia, there were elections in the country, and then, we all know how things happened. It led to the results were about to be announced the following day, and then all of a sudden we had news about a coup d'etat, the military announcing that they've taken over control of the territorial integrity of the country, and also the running of the government at some point. So the former president now, Sissoko Mbalo, now in Senegal, whether he's on a self-imposed exile, those details are not yet clear. But did you manage to find out maybe from their coach also what is happening back home, if it has also affected their performance in this competition? Because they're here and then they must be constantly following the news. For the youngsters, the kids, maybe, they might not surround themselves with political happenings, but for the coaches, for some of the senior people in there, do you think psychologically that could maybe affect even their performance in this competition?
Even the kids, it did. I confirmed, it did, because it really much affected them. For me, I think that's why I don't talk about them much about this thing, because I know something is behind that is really much affecting them. They are kids. And when they hear in the news that there is coup in back home, obviously they'll be thinking about is mom and dad safe? And that will not give them the steady mind here, understand? So it really did, because even the girls' game against Guinea, where they lost 6-0, they had never wanted to play. They said they're not going to play, understand? So, but the Guineans know that, okay, they need to win with a huge margin to be able to surpass Senegal in winning the trophy. So they have to go and beg the Guinea-Bissau Guineans to come and play, understand? They said no, they have to even borrow them their shoes. I understand they have to go and borrow them their shoes and tell them just come and play, just let's come and play.
Okay.
And later they made up their minds and then decided to play against the Guineans. And when they played, they eventually beat them 6-0. Understand? So you could see that is because of the news that they are hearing back home. And not because they will not want to play, because they know if they don't want to play, and it will still be understood, because we all know at that point in time, they already left the country when they know everything was okay, and they are just here, they had something changes, then that will really much affect them.
So now when they're
exactly, so when they came, that game, they said they're not going to play, and they have to be begged. Then when the Guineans beg them and say, no, please come, let's play, they went and borrowed their shoes and tell them the shoes are here, you can wear, we play. They played, and what they wanted, they got that. They beat them, 6-0. And I think they should have just even called them and celebrate together, because when I was standing, I was waiting for that moment to even call the Bissau Guineans and say, come,
come, let's celebrate it together,
because it's because of together,
huge
so,
score,
but I did not see that. But yeah, you could even see, even at the final end, the way they composed themselves, the way they were seated, you know that yes, something is going in their minds. They are not just like any kids going around, joking and even making friends. No. They were so steady, composed. They were really much, going through something. But hopefully, it will be very okay for them.
Thank you very much for the Money journalist talking about African Schools Football Championship, which was held in the Gambia at the WAFU level, which is zone level. It's also a qualifiers to the main competition at the CAF level, and Senegal and Guinea will represent the part of the continent in that competition. At this end of the program, I am going to pay tribute to our colleague Pa Barrow, who passed away a week ago, last Saturday, and it's so unfortunate. We're devastated. When I had the news, I was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, covering the Islamic Games. We pray that Allah Azza wa Jalla grant him Jannatul Firdaus. And that's it for Qsports today. Until next week, keep on sporting and bye for now.